Yes.
I have a comment now.
I'll just put this.
The comment would be is just to take a look at Scripture, and by all indications, when God brought him out of Egypt,
Yep.
He brought him out. So for us to really worry about how and when is kind of ridiculous, because God will be the one to do the work.
Yeah.
It's not us that does the work.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like with our salvation, it's not us that does the
Amen.
work. So put your faith in God and trust that He's going to care for us. He's going to feed us.
Amen.
He'll care for us.
The Lord is my shepherd, and as a sheep, I've just got to learn not to get ahead of Him, because I can cause troubles for myself. So, those that are led by the Holy, by the Spirit of Yah, they're the sons of Elohim, B'nai Elohim. So, if we're led by His Spirit, there's some safety there. He'll lead us, and our job is just not to get ahead of Him. I'm a little bit worried for some preppers where they're a bit gung-ho about what they're going to do. I think they may be in for a shock, because we need to be led by God's Spirit. God is going to humble His people before He brings them back to the land. And so, I've been knocked down with a steamroller enough that I don't get up until I go, is it safe? Is it clear? Because if I get ahead of the Lord, He just goes over me another time, So, yeah. Any other questions about it? I wish I could answer some of these details, but I just can't, because I just don't know. I think that we've got to start coming together more often as congregations, because if we're going to be on the move at some stage, it's a good. I know that God does things when we come together. He does a little bit of stuff, and people's hearts are encouraged. So it says, "Forsaking not the assembling of ourselves as the manner of some is." And if you've got Messianic fellowship and there's all sorts of problems going on in that, it's better than no fellowship at all. And God is working here. I can see He's working in America, and He's stirring things up. And so one of the practical things that we can do is come together, not only on the feast days, but have times like this where people can share, and where people can be encouraged and instructed. So, that's something practical that we can do right now. And another practical thing is that we need to, when you see trouble coming, a long time ago I got rid of my cards, my bank account, and I got so annoyed with church and Messianics in Australia. I had a guts full of everything. I just said, God, I've had a guts full. If you exist and you're my daddy, you can look after me, because your people are driving me nuts. So I just took a hike. I got out of town, and with just a pack on my back and a couple of bags, some books here and some food there. And I said, and I only had a few dollars in my wallet, and within a few days that was gone. And for a week I was hitchhiking around Australia in the mountains in the summertime, and I got to a place called Mount Beauty, and I was sitting under the stars, under the belt of Orion, and I was just looking up, and I just felt God say to my heart, "You're going to be here a while." And the Lord opened things up for me when I had nothing. When I came to the end of the road, He opened a new road, and those experiences are priceless, because I see that when we come to the end of ourselves and we think we can't go on any further, that God has a new road opening up before us. And so I'm very confident that the Lord is going to guide us and lead us. And I've experienced that. I don't need to go to darkest Africa to see miracles. I just need to be in a place where I don't have a lot to come and go on. And then all of a sudden, God shows His hand very specifically. So we're going to be on a trek at some stage, and we need to look after each other, because we're different members of the body of Messiah, and there's things that one person can do that the other person can't do. So we need to be able to exercise our gifts. I don't just want to be a Torah book. I want to be a man that is operating the gifts of the Holy Spirit, the gifts that God has given me, and working as a team. And I really long to see the congregation of Yahweh actually working as a team. So studying the Torah, but then actually ministering one to another, and functioning like an army, like a family, like a house. And so I think we need to, that stuff about how we're going to go out, that's, for me, that's kind of theoretical. I want to get to practical stuff. I know I'm going there somehow and it'll work out. What I need to know is, what do I do right now? And so we've each got a job to do, and that's where the prayer comes in, because we need to be seeking the Father, because we've got a lot of opposition if we're doing the right thing, and we've got to push through that and be able to reach people and so forth. I've gone out on a limb coming here to America, and there's times and seasons for each of us. For me, it's a season that's actually an adventure, and I would encourage people to be thinking about working together, and we're already doing that. I just want to encourage you to keep doing it and persevere. So yeah. So that wasn't an exact answer. That's perhaps something that's on my heart. There's something I can answer. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Your next talk in Howell next week, are you going to be adding anything that's okay?
Yeah, nobody wants to be famous. I'm the only guy that the New World Order can find, because I've got a YouTube site. Don't point it at the lady there, but I'll point this here. So
yeah, are you going to be teaching anything additional to today's talk in Howell next week?
Yes, I'm going to be talking about the raising up of the tabernacle of David in some detail. So there's going to be some crossover between this talk and that talk, but there's going to be a lot more detail and focus on the house of David. Yeah. So some people that haven't gone to this talk, I'll be touching on all the things that I've talked about here, but I'll be focusing much more on the establishment of the Davidic throne when those two houses come together. Yeah.
Lord,
Yep.
in Hebrew, Dalet, Vav, Dalet.
Yep.
You know what that spells?
David. Yep.
And you know what that means?
Well, there's a numeric value of 14. It means beloved.
Right. So when God is talking David, he's talking like in the book of Song of Songs, where
Yep.
it says Dodi, Dodi-li.
Yep.
Okay, those are the same letters.
Yep.
Which in Hebrew now they say is uncle, Dod. But
Yep.
anyway, so when it says David, we can translate that into beloved, which is what he calls us, his bride.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's I don't know if you knew that, but that's a cool understanding of Hebrew.
Yeah, well, that's right. I take it quite literally in the context. So when God raises up David, he's also raising up his beloved Israel and Judah and so forth. So that's the way I take that. But certainly, we're very much related. Zion, it says in Hebrews that we have come into the heavenly Jerusalem, to Mount Zion. So we're not actually Zionists. We're not just Zionists. We are Zion. That's the mystery. So we are that beloved daughter of Zion that Yeshua poured out his blood for and is raising up. And But we're living in enemy territory, and He's going to bring us back into the land. And the true place where Zion belongs is in Zion. And when Yeshua returns, we return with Him, and we're reigning over Zion and over the nations. It's a very high calling. So, yeah.
Brad, I have a question. At that point, though, there'll be very few men left at that point in time.
Yep.
Being that the devastation that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
And Him ruling over the nations, there's only going to be a handful left. It's like starting all over again after the flood.
Well, it is. And I believe, again, I believe that what's coming is not those events just yet in Revelation. But we're going to, at some stage, the book, Isaiah 24 and Isaiah 17 are going to be fulfilled. In Isaiah 17 it says Damascus will be taken away from being a city. And then what does it say? It says Jacob will be made thin. So, Jacob being made thin is related to Damascus being destroyed. So, Christians need to realise who Jacob is. It's Judah and Israel. And they need to realise that when that city is destroyed, much of Jacob is cut off. It says that he's like an olive tree that's shaken and only 3 or 4 berries are left in the outermost branches. That's a genocide of tremendous proportions. Again, the bulk of Israel is the northern kingdom, the house of Israel. And though the house of Israel be like the sand of the seashore for multitude, only a remnant will be saved. When that is fulfilled, I believe that's going to be in that Isaiah 17 period. And related to that, it talks about, he says, my leanness, the treacherous have dealt treacherously. Similar sort of terminology, my leanness, is in Isaiah 24, where the earth is reeling to and fro like a drunkard. So there's tectonic changes. Now, is that the time that we're coming into now? I don't know. But there's going to be a time when Jacob is made thin, and I don't actually see that in the tribulation itself, because Jacob is cut in half. There's basically half of them, 5 wise and 5 foolish, 2 against 3, 3 against 2. And believing Israel is in the wilderness, and she can't be touched by a dragon, and all the bad king's men that come down from heaven, the third of the stars. So believing Israel at that time, despite the tribulation, is actually doing all right. It's the believers amongst the nations that keep the testimony of Yeshua and the commandments of Elohim that are actually cut down by the Antichrist. But believing Israel, as I understand it, is safe. And that's who that woman standing on the moon clothed with the stars. It's not the Catholic Church, it's believing Israel. So there may be a culling or a cutting down of Israel and the nations coming shortly. We know that the earth is starting to do crazy things. So if this is a Sodom and Gomorrah generation, then we're living in the time when that verse can be fulfilled regarding that unless He left us a very small remnant, we would have become a Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's why, I emphasise we need to value one another. I do hope that there's a lot more young people that start waking up, and they're going to need dreams and visions. And as I say, a kick up the bum. So, yeah.
Would we be considered, though, a small remnant? Because among Christians,
yeah,
we're us Torah believers are just a small remnant.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we are a small remnant. What's noticeable in Australia is that most of the Messianics I know are in their 40s and over. And there's a few that are younger, but not many. And in order to build a nation, you need young people. So I believe that, in a way, we're kind of preparing the way for a generation that's going to wake up a bit more. Yes, we are a remnant. Please God, let us be more than we are now. And I believe that's coming.